Ölü oyun o yüzden.
Bir right back.
Oğlum oyunun MM serverlar oyuna girince, oyunu oynamaya çalışınca 64'lik serverda oynuyorsun. Ötesi var mı? Al sana dead game ya. Siz bana diyorsunuz ki Major şu kadar izlendi, bu kadar izlendi. İzlenir tabi ama turnuva yani. Maçız. Oğlum Jet'i ne vurdu lan? Ay onu da vuramadı. 3 ve 2.
Yeah, it's looking for the fight back now. Redgar's taken space on the site and he's left Nats to sort of lag behind.
Nets'e bakar olay.
It's something that will be expected.
Abi o silahla
Initially hit. And he's looking to try and take down Naxa, who is currently fighting against him. It's still awkward though because Redgar is trapped within this site, and if he goes down, round is over.
eyvah.
Yeah, with him down, this is looking really tough. Nats is up against a Sheriff that's one hit for him. He's managed to wall back in and then steps out to close this round. The Latin
Biraz daha ses
Americans are
veriyorum.
up 1-0.
Yeah, it's the storyline that
İyi
I
başladı
think
Kuru, hadi
everybody's
bakalım.
fallen in love with throughout this tournament. Obviously, Gambit are almost. They're not the final head to take because they still have to play the final. But if you're going to eliminate the previous Masters champions back to back, like obviously you've had the finalists as well and Fnatic. There's so much in this for Crew, and as we said, going into this map, they haven't played this, I believe, since the LATAM playoffs, which was a very long time ago. So the fact that they're
Bakalım
coming
Breeze
in,
kimin
the
map'i?
fact they let this through, they must
bakamıyoruz.
have put some work in. And hey, a pistol to start, not
Söyleyeceğim.
bad.
Yeah, they've definitely put a lot of work into this map. There's no way that you let it slip through. And you have to remember, Crew, they've got to be
Breeze
feeling
Gambit'in
untouchable
map'i,
at this point.
Ascent,
They're taking
Kuru'nun
down
map'i, son
Masters
map'te Bind.
finalists. They're taking down potentially the defending champions. I mean, they certainly feel like it's possible coming into this. Now, Gambit have not bought much. They're on just pistols, but they're grouped up. They're using that pack mentality. Kesnet's made a risky decision
Haydi,
going
sal
into this
abicim.
close corner, but they haven't checked it. That's a double, and indeed 4 kills for
Rende.
Kesnet. That's a pretty damn good start for him on this map.
He's almost got his neural theft.
Game changer,
what a
isn't
big
it?
ult to have early on. That's the only thing. He's got himself an ace in round 2. Confidence must be flying. But
Kim alır
it
ve
is the
kimi
thing, we
tutuyoruz
normally
abi?
talk about this man on those very aggressive
Yani
agents. So if he's farming up his ult,
ben
you
Gambit'i
really don't
tutuyorum.
mind too much. In this case, hey, an ace is wonderful. They keep it
Yani
nice
bu
and
maçı
clean. They
Gambit'in
don't lose
kazanmasını
any
isterim.
players, so their finances are going to be through the roof.
Yeter da Kuru yani. Geldiler yarı finale, tamam.
Yeah, sure. It's like min-maxing that ult, not going to be great. Not in terms of the value that it brings. Certainly when you look at even any of the other agents in his pool. But getting an ace off the bat,
Map
making
Gambit'in.
sure that your economy is locked down, it's safe, you don't lose your weapons. Hell, your teammates barely fought, so they've got their shields for this round. It's gonna be a really
Yalavalı
strong bonus for
Kuru.
Crew. Again, they don't expect to win this one, but with what they've got,
Kafi Kuru diyorum, aynen öyle.
a lot of potential for them to at least do damage to Gambit.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. We're looking at Gambit now. How they're
Boğazım
actually gonna
ağrıdı.
respond.
Tamam,
In
beni
the
biraz
early round,
konuşturmayın.
just
Ben
taking
maç
space, but
maç
it's a
fokusum.
lot more passive, at least from most of the players. But Nags, how's he already here? He's pushed all the way through tube. He's got a perfect flank and a weapon upgrade as well. So a huge start to this round already. He's completely cleared out A. So there's so much information right now for Crew, and Gambit need to try and recover.
Yeah, I mean, look at the previous round. Crew plays super passive
2 gün
inside
sonra
of walls,
İlayda.
and this time they get
Bugün
right up
değil.
in their face. Weapon upgrade, Bulldog for one of his teammates potentially, and a lot of map control. Nags still holding on to it, was just seconds away from a duel with Redgar, but they've missed each other. And so that spike will be picked up, and Gambit have to look to take it somewhere else. You know, their slow, defaulty play, they still didn't catch the aggression on this big map of Breeze.
Well, that's the thing. Right now, they're very tentative. You can watch the players on the map just trying to almost spot out if there's been any further aggression, because in a round like this, as we said, it's expected because of what's currently on the table for Crew. Now, they're looking to try and split through, but the cam has given them away. Straight away, the rotation cards starts coming through from CT, and, well, it's not gone amazingly for Gambit. In fact, they've lost a couple now.
The trap wire's at least gone, but with that snake bite down, Redgar's in trouble. The headshot connected. He needed it. Still, though, is it going to be enough? Gambit making it to the site. The spike still needs to be planted with just 10 seconds left. A headshot connected.
Abi skorun altında spike var ya, onun altında yanında ok var. O hangi taraftaysa map onun oluyor. Biri yazdı Ferit. Hayır, öyle değil. Bu Attacker side'ı gösteriyor. Spike Gambit de demek yani. O demek değil. Beyza hoş geldin. 3-0.
This man has struggled on the jet so far in this tournament, but now he's really proving his worth with a bonus round win for Crew.
That was huge.
Bonus
the level
aldılar.
of risk he took in this round alone, like he had their only rifle. Everybody else was
Yalovalı kürü geliyor valla.
to push most aggressively. He keeps that rifle, he keeps map control, and then even has a flank to win the Red Bull clutch at the end. A beautiful start for Nags, and
belli olmuyor Atakır başlayan map'i seçmiş olmuyor. Bazen adam map'i seçen adam defans oluyor bazen. Çünkü diğer takım atak seçiyor. Onu öyle belirleyemez. O şeyi terör side'ı gösteriyor. Atak yapan side'ı gösteriyor Spike'ın yanındaki ok. Saldırıyı başlayan haritayı seçen olmuyor mu? Olmuyor arkadaşlar. Bazen haritayı seçen takım karşı takım diyor ki sonra kardeşim biz atak başlamak istiyoruz diyor. O yüzden haritayı seçen defans başlayabiliyor. Anladınız mı? Öyle bir şey değil. Haritayı seçen atak başlamak zorunda diye bir şey yok. Genelde evet atak başlıyor. Ama bazen tersi de olabiliyor. Barış Şahin 83 ay. Çok teşekkür ederim Barış'cığım. Çok sağ ol. Cansın.
I think at the moment the attack is still the favored side. Like, sure, there's going to be a few teams that are almost an anomaly where it's like, we actually love the defense. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. But I'd like the way that so far you do have so much information for the defenders. And it's not even so much so the fact that they have this double initiator where it's like, oh, we have the knife, we have the dart.
Yine cahil konuşmalar dönüyor. Sırtımı döndüm chat'e.
I'm going to just keep pushing until someone stops me. And in this round, no one stopped him.
I loved that. Honestly, looking at Crew coming into this map veto as well, obviously the desk was saying, and we were saying, that this veto favors Gambit on paper.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You don't
Tek
know
paus
what's
mu?
going on
Hayır
behind
ya.
those doors. And Crew
Hayır ya.
clear intentional play of
Tek pauslar başladıysa boku yedik, kesin bir sıkıntı var benim bilgisayarımda. Kardeşim benim, Sivaslı mı bu çocuk? Abi şimdi dünya dönüyor. Güneş dünyanın etrafında dönüyor.
When we look at the map veto, okay, sure, their icebox has definitely been a little bit shaky, especially if you consider like them playing up against Fnatic. It didn't look great, but Fnatic
ne olmuş gene ya?
have always been one of the best icebox teams in the world. So
Türkiye'de 6 kişide omikron varyantı test.
Okay, icebox is kind of a 50-50
Amına
map, so
koyayım.
they're going to choose it, especially
Eyvah.
when they've had some shaky starts like losing to Secret 13-6. You kind of think, okay, you can float that map. Yeah. But
Kötü, çok kötü, çok kötü ya. Gerçekten çok kötü ya. Oğlum ben yeni nesle üzülüyorum asıl ya. Biz gene yaşadık, anladın mı? Hani maskesiz zamanları çok iyi biliyoruz işte. Çılgınlar gibi konserler, gerçi gene oluyor konserler falan ama hani maske zorunluluğu olmadığı zamanlar. Şimdiki nesil valla full maskeyle doğup büyüyor ya. Ah lan Z kuşağı.
Masters Berlin champions.
Oha!
Try and go to the champions final as
Maçım.
well. They should be favorite, and yet, in the back of my head, I'm like, are they though?
Dude, I've said it before. We've all said it. The improvement of Crew has been a wonder.
Hala aşk karşıtlığı yapanların da yani aklını zikrini. Gambit yalnız force yani. Force oyun. Bu eli verirse boku yer yalnız. 3 ve 2. Ay. O deş. Aslan deşi.
It's a big round for Gambit. An instant response. The pause giving them a little bit of time. And well, they didn't give Crew any at all.
He was one well placed shot away from.
Abi bu amına kodumun küresine bir hafta önce gruptan çıkamıyor. Niye Latam slotu var yazmıştım. Sen de okumuştun. Adamlar Champions'ı kazanacak galiba. Harbiden lan. Hatırlıyorum. Hatta şey dedik, ulan bunlar da her turnuva geliyorlar, eleniyorlardır, ilk gruplardan çıkamıyorlar falan diyor. Taşak geçiyorduk adama. Avustralya kıttı abla.
I think that's been the thing out of all that has impressed me most with Gambit this tournament. Sure, you've got the likes of Depo performing to an incredible standard. I think Chronicle has had one of his best tournaments ever as well. We saw interviews about it. But the main thing has been Redgar's calling. I think he's been super adaptive this event, and that's going to be one of the toughest things for Crew, is that they are now not afraid to go for these incredibly fast-paced rounds and then fall back into something like this where they're much calmer. Oh, it's spotted me by the last second.
So yeah, we had the double bounce shock dart down through the tube. This is just to give you that little sound cue, that notification that, yes, you have destroyed the trap wire that's there. That's going to cause a problem for Kesnet moving into future rounds, but right now he's got a bigger problem. Shados is looking to get aggressive and push up into him, but Kesnet was ready, sitting inside that Viper Orb, taking the kill, and indeed the Neural Death will be deployed for the information. Nags has gotten aggressive to find Redgar and the spike.
Yeah, they have to go back for this. And he's not left. I
Bombaya
believe he might
gidiyorlar
even
ama
still have his dash on
Nags
him.
et.
He doesn't
Ay,
actually
güzel
have to
flash.
escape this until afterwards. And okay, sure, Gambit have managed to reclaim the spike, but it's 35 seconds, Mitch. They have got so much still to do.
They know seeing Nags go that aggressive
Ah,
that he has
onu
his
nasıl
teammate
kaçırdı ya?
covering his side.
Abi.
They weren't expecting Mazzino to be right up in their face. A beautiful one for Mazzino as Chronicle falls.
Kürü çok iyi oynuyor. Kürü çok iyi oynuyor. Alo Gambit. Biri şu takımı yensin la.
I honestly, if I had 1% of their confidence, I think I'd be a dangerous human being.
Yasin gırr. 46 aydır Yasin'im, hoş geldin canım. Neredesin lan sen?
Nags is having one of those days where he is just taking so much map control away from Gambit that they can't play these slow rounds anymore. I almost feel like they have to just start blasting into sites, otherwise they're just going to continuously lose map control or just lose duels, because that's what this is.
And it's twice we've seen him in that corner have massive value, shutting down the push in this round, and obviously the ace that he had earlier that was a quadruple spray down as they came through the metal doors. This is starting to get a little bit worrying for Gambit. You know, the only thing that's worked for them is that straight aggressive play.
Yep. And now I believe this is going to be their
Bitrate çok düşük abi. Yusuf nereden çıkardın güzel kardeşim? Ha bebeğim. Ha tatlım. Bitrate bende 3000 gözüküyor. Bak şimdi balım. Çarkı tıklıyorsun. Kaliteyi en yükseğe alıyorsun. Kaynağı alıyorsun. Ondan sonra geliyorsun, gelişmiş video istatistikleri yapıyorsun. O zaman gözükür bitrate. Ama sen gidersen bunu 360p yaparsan, sonra buraya bakarsan, buradaki bit bak kaç gözüküyor. Abi Valorant kanalı 550 bit veriyor abi. Anladın mı? Kaynağı alırsan belli olur o.
Crew, but instead Crew have shown that their preparation is there. They have put the time in, and so far they look incredible, almost unchallenged, bar that one blitz through middle.
Now, what I will say going into this next round is, although the actual purchase itself from Gambit kind of sucks, they have almost every single ultimate online. So you might be thinking, oh yeah, no, this is kind of an eco. Like, this is one where everything's going to be a little bit weaker. I think the only ult they don't have online is Bladestorm, and it's one away. So I wouldn't be necessarily surprised if they're just going to go straight for an ult orb. And especially on the attacker side.
8K değil mi abi normalde? Oradan da baktım abi. Hemen bir sağlamasını yapalım kardeşim. Bakalım kaç K veriyormuşum. Kaynak. Sağlamasını yapalım kardeşim. Bakalım. Gelişmiş video istatistikleri. Kaynak. Sağlamasını yapalım kardeşim. Bende mi bozuk acaba Yusuf? Gelişmiş video istatistikleri. Allah Allah. Kaynak.
It's not too bad, yeah.
That's something that they might be able to brag about a little bit later. Yeah.
Öyleymiş, çok özür dilerim. Estağfurullah Yusuf'cum. Olabilir. Olabilir. Seni bir ama PPG rehabilitasyon merkezimize bekliyoruz. Discord'da odamız var. Seni düzelteceğiz. Seni kazanabiliriz Yusuf. Jireleon 34. ayın kutlu olsun. Taş'ta 12 aydır. Çok teşekkür ederim. Çok sağ ol canım. Aurels 10 lira. Ferit, zamanında Kaan'la globale kasarken o kadar sevinmiştim ki global olmana. Mutluluktan SS almıştım. Bilgisayarı kurcalarken buldum. Seni sikecek kadar çok seviyorum. Yani
uzun süredir bir izleyici sanmıştım. Meğersem
şey söyleyeceğim. Sevginizin kıstası niye sikmek?
Çünkü insan sevdi.
Yani ben mesela Rauf'u çok seviyorum, anladın mı?
bir siksen olabilir.
Ama
But also,
Ah be
yeah,
abi.
given the
Ulan be
reason
34
your
vurmuşum bir de.
underplayers is gonna be pretty strong.
Lan hak
Be able to
etmişim lan bir de
control
Rauf.
closely, not have to just wear out your
Kanka
mouse finger
bütün
clicking
oyunlarda
through.
öyleydik.
But yeah, 4-1 sitting in this for Gambit. I don't think that's going to really affect their mental. We know this team very well.
Teşekkür
They're not
ederim.
the kind of team that
Aurels.
tilts.
Çok sağ ol.
Imagine someone like Redgar getting upset or
So,
angry. You just can't.
I've just been told that this is in Argentina. This is the watch party
Silmem dünyada böyle
right
şeyin
now.
geçmişte.
It is looking packed. Like,
Örnek
I
olmuş
could tell,
olabilir.
obviously, a lot of the team themselves are going to be Chilean, but
Sure.
it's
Aman
one of
abi,
those things
Batım
where
değil,
just
hayret.
the support for the organization itself. Obviously, we've actually had the
Okuyorum Can. Kaos spawn oldu amına koyayım.
But for me, seeing Aguero involved in esports is one of the most
Tuttu
exciting
ensesinden
things.
amına koyayım.
Kan çocuk haklı ama ya.
For anybody who's not, he scored
Ya
probably
alt
one of the
sıralarda
best
görüyoruz genelde
goals
seni hep. Öyle görüyorduk.
in history. Like it was like a last second goal that won
Hadi
the
bahsetmeyin
Premier League.
amına koyayım.
He is a huge player in the football world. So for him to be interested in Valorant.
Kaan bir Valorant'ta görelim abi seni. Ona da gelmiyorsun, Valorant'ta görelim diyorum. Laptop'tan oynuyordum o vakit ben. Ya bırak Allah aşkına.
Just in case.
Bırak Allah aşkına. 10 numara PC yaptın sonra. Gene olmadı Kaan.
Ya lambaları falan düşürüyordu kanka, hatırlıyor musun?
Hatırlıyorum hatırlıyorum. Mouse'u bir çekiyordu amına koyayım, lambalar düşüyordu. Kaan özledim ya. Öyle olmadı abi.
Obviously their mid control didn't really work out for them when Gambit just blitzed up through.
Kaan senle Couple'da drop down tutmayı özledim Kaan.
The other thing that's kind of interesting to me is if you look at the A
Oğlum mouse bungee lambaydı benim o yüzden. Mouse kablo tutucusu lamba dermiş ya. Neyse Valo'da izletiriz. Önce Valo sonra İrele. Gece Valo çili.
We're starting things off here though. Tech pause subsided.
Tabii
Crew
dedik abi.
are ready to continue this winning streak.
Utfaros, teşekkür
4-1
ederim.
on the board when we left. They bounced back from a round loss. But now they're up against a fully ult stacked Gambit.
Yeah, this
Jadi
is
22.
a
ayın
very
kutlu olsun. Çok
scary round
teşekkürler.
right now for Crew, and well, I'm sure after they hear the Blade Storm pop, they've realized it. So much more passive. Look how far back they're holding in comparison to some of the previous rounds
Maçız.
where they've been pushing up, taking map control. This time they're sat back and waiting because they don't want to give anything up to Gambit.
Seni
Acaba
Ferit
Now, in
yapan
essence,
this could end up
PUBG'dir
playing
diyebilir
into
miyiz?
Gambit's favor,
Yok,
because
beni
that's been the
Ferit yapan
problem so
LoL'dur.
far. All of this aggression they've been caught off by. They've been
Bak
pushed
beni Ferit yapan annemdir
pretty
ya.
much every single round, and kills have gone
Doğru.
their way.
Wow.
And Kesnet is already in a lot of trouble. That's a 1-4-5, Mitch.
Kürü müyüz?
Absolutely he is. Here's the trap wire though. They've gone up and above it, but that's just going to give Kesnet the double spray. Shade us down.
Keznit 2 kill
Although
aldı.
Kesnet falls in the end.
Gambit sıkıntılarda.
That advantage to play with in through the... Oh no, you're
Çıkıp
not gonna
çıkıp
win
ölüyor
that
kanka.
fight. Delsing
Oo.
is on fire.
Çıkıp
You run
çıkıp
through the
ölüyorlar.
poison
Mental damage
orb.
dayandı.
It was a cage obviously that was towards the B tunnels in the end, and with 5-1
Demir'in de
for Crew,
yakaladın. Sen yakalıyorsun.
this is not the game that Gambit were expecting when they picked Breeze, I'll tell you that.
He's got 5 HP. Like, Defo went up above.
Eyvallah, kayıp
over
bulduk
his
Dodo.
ribs. Didn't him once.
Estağfurullah. Buralı
He
muralı.
barely got a chance though.
Yeah,
He
no,
just
of
started.
course.
Ordumuz Cahreyn.
The other thing as well is I love that he
Düzgün
goes for
konuş.
the instant threat. I think that's one of the things that I think is most impressive about Kesnet is not
Target selection.
his aim is sick. There's no doubt about it. But it is just his decision making in 0.1 of a second. Like, okay, kill that guy back down. Like,
İlayda hata.
So again, we're seeing that trap wire place. Now, obviously, this is because Kesnet's
Ya
running towards
şükür.
the B side. He wouldn't have time to place it deeper and run back. But with it being destroyed, again, they're going to have to commit players towards that part of the map. Mazino's being taken down immediately. Recon not going
Oy.
to get them anything
Nice
on
oğlum.
this one. And Shados has a great.
Na-
Ooh.
Nasıl
Ya
oldu
al
lan?
işte.
Çıktı mı dışarı?
Al
Al
işte
Inside of all the
kanka.
keep control, it also allows
Vuruşu
them
bir
to step
kes.
out down to the
Çıkmış
stairs.
dışarı ulti lan.
That's
Tipe bak. Nasıl ulti kanka?
block off
It's
a
a
whole
fake.
lot of space,
Kanka
but it's
bu
going to really
ulti-
bother Crew because they're losing information.
Biraz fazla
they're
mı
losing
şişik?
a lot of control, and as they commit
Böyle
all these
üstten
players
bağlı.
over it, Gambit just walk right into B.
it is a weird ult. In fact, they're not going to use
Mod
it at all.
çok iyiymiş.
It's just a
Evet.
complete ruse.
Oh, he's dropped it. Nats has dropped the ult. And
Kanka
then sat
peki
in
o
the
perde
corner,
ne?
Trying to bait them
Piramidin
into thinking that he's
üstündeki.
rotating with his team as the spike is planted. But now he's going to try this late round backstab. They seem to expect it though.
Ha siktir Nets. Abi okudular. Nets'i okudular.
They expect the lurker of Nats every single time at this point, and it's come back into
Helal oğlum
2
Crackle.
versus 1. Klaus the man to take him out.
Vurun
Has to
şunu.
try and get another
Aynı anda
couple
pick.
more.
3, 2, 1 flash.
Already in a
Pick.
pretty decent advantage in terms
Piklesene
of the
Redgar.
rounds, and actually
Bak.
a bit of an
Ya
early
vursaydı
break
orada
from
Chronicle'a tek
Chronicle'a
atsaydı. Redgar niye piklemiyor kanka?
Canı 45.
Second round for them, and now we need to see a response.
Baiter kanka Baiter.
Okay, but just a moment ago we mentioned
Ekwa.
how Gambit
Hani
Kaan abi.
kaybedersek
had
şey
all the
diyeyim
roles
diye.
online, right? They were
Ben
stacked
elimden
up
geleni
a
yaptım
minute ago,
arkadaşlar,
and now
tweet
atayım
they
diye,
come
amına
into this
koydum.
with
Tam bir ayın bizim am.
and a lot of the
Ekwa,
problems that
Kaan
come
abi
up
yarrağını
because
kemiririm ne
Casino
olursun
and
gel
Nags
demiş.
die to that early
Teşekkürler
control over
Ekwa.
Cube. Once they're down, it's recovery mode. It's very difficult to keep the control of the map. That's why Gambit have so much success in faking out and rotating to B, but now they've used their ultimates. So that's going to put them in a pretty tough spot to try and repeat that sort of strategy. I think Crew can feel happy now that for the next
Defo,
couple of
sakin
rounds,
olun.
they won't face what they just lost to there.
I think it's going to be another fast push. Although I will say that
İyi
Shados has
diyorlar.
already been caught out. There's some information
Buraya
from the knife.
attırdılar her şeylerini. İkinci zehir de geliyor galiba.
And it actually completely halts the push. They're not going to go in off of this. I wonder if it may have
Atmadı.
caught Viper as well, and then they didn't have the screen to actually entry in. It could have made
Eyvah.
a big difference.
Yapma.
And now they're
Oh,
moving in
güzel.
to Nags, but this time he won't connect. What? Goes back, re-peeks and gets 2. That is filth.
That's disgusting. The double opening on the buy round of Gambit really putting them on the back foot right away. They've got their mid control, but at what cost? Crew will just sit back and wait, deploy the Gambit strategy. You come to me. And, well, they do, with Kesnet falling over on the stairs. Klaus hasn't been detected. He's going to put up his drone. That's 2 players spotted. Good information, and Nags continues to frag. 3 kills
Kanka,
on the
Gambit
board in this
çaresiz
round. This
ya.
is by far the best that I've seen this guy perform, and what a time to
Yani
step it up.
aim vs'si kazanamıyorlar
What
ha.
do the remaining players even do?
İkinci
They
kez
have
her
diyorum
evde
BBL
olur.
Keznit.
all the way
Ya nasıl
back.
alalım Arven, nasıl alalım
Nats,
Keznit
and then
ya?
on the other side, Chronicles just
Eleman
trying to
gelir
take
mi
a
amına
little
koyayım?
space. I don't know if they're going to try and fake this out or just
Lan
hold
Derki
on to their
istiyordu, bugün
guns. I
Keznit mi
think
oldu?
that's the only
Kanka
choice
hiçbiri
at this
gelmez
point.
ya,
So
hiçbiri
far
gelmez.
split
Boşuna
apart,
kandırmayalım
and
kendimizi.
it looks like Crew have got another. And as said,
Kim TL ile maaş almak
Gambit
ister
have
ki şu an yani
really
yurt dışında?
big attacking halves on this map. Well, the best now they can get is 6.
This is getting very scary for the attackers,
Oo,
but
bıçağı bile
I
kıramadı.
have to say, for Crew to come out with confidence and pick, well, allow
Ben
Breeze
TR'deyim,
through
ben de
it.
hissediyorum.
They almost chose it in a way, though, because they knew they were going to play it. They allowed Gambit to pick it. And I would say, as Gambit coming in, this was the last thing you expected to see open in the veto. So that it's not like they've done a ton of prep or came in. Oh my god.
10.000 lira veriyorsun 1k dolar etmiyor. Harbiden etmiyor
The
ya.
fact that he misses the first one and then
Ama
gets
abi
2
yani
anyway.
şurada arka
That
arkaya
is
yürüyüşe baksana
gross.
ya.
And
The
yeah,
drone.
a huge round
Aha.
for him.
Bunlar-
No surprise.
Güney Amerika mı bura?
Wow, there is a lot of
Oha.
people there. Like, I don't feel like the first camera angle really did
Oha.
that
That
justice.
was, I thought we
Agüero
just, like,
kurmuş değil mi
fell
kanka?
down together.
Stat'tan izliyorlar değil mi kanka?
Stat'tan izliyor.
Let's go, but that's a lot of people. That's what we love to see, man. Get the fans out. I can't wait. Hopefully next year we get them into an arena as well. See y'all in person, but for now we at least get to see the players. I tell you what, Crew are smiling pretty big.
Yeah, it's been a rough start for Defo. 1-8. He's been one of the star performers for them so far in this tournament, and in fact, one of the only rounds they won was him getting an entry kill. Other than that, he's been deadly quiet. Now again, they're looking to try and pressure onto Tube. This man has no fear.
Abi herifin özgüvene bakar mısın Ferit? Ne yapacaksın ki buna karşı?
Çok rahat oynuyor. Ama yani yapması gerekeni yapıyor yani. Ama olması gerektiği gibi kanks. Redgar şu an Denk mi bekliyor? Shadows'u bekliyor galiba. Shadows'un yeri kritik ama Belki
Nasıl Chronicle?
Shadows öldü. Aha Redgar sızdı, Redgar sızdı, Exit'i vurdu. Bir anda döndürdü. Çok iyi oyun.
And now Klaus is going to be left alone. He's done well at the
Duydu.
start of this round, but a 1v2 to win.
Chronicle duydu.
Wants to put 7 on the board for Crew.
He's got a decent amount of utility, but it's not really given him much information whatsoever. The shot to try and mask the fall, and he will spot Redgar. Should have a decent idea that Chronicle's going to be rotating through. His teammate died to him just moments ago, and is trying to just bait someone into the peak. Not quite able to find the shots, and Redgar will close out the round. It's another
Güzel,
on the ball for
600.
Gambit. They're
Buradan bir
slowly
6-6'sı var mı?
grinding through them, and I think the main thing so
4
far is
ultileri
just
var
being
gerçi.
able to take control of Tube. It's given them a lot
Abi
of space
defoya
as well.
baksana kanka,
Chube's
defo.
definitely been the
Hep
contention.
böyle ya. Bu
Even
çocuk
just
hiç
getting up
şey değil,
close,
stabil
Kapı
değil
çaldı
yani.
kanka.
constantly try to open that door.
Bu sefer
Know
hakikaten kapı
that
çaldı.
it's going to be closed, but just assuring themselves and the players that are coming out of cave, there is a player on the stairs. Guaranteed information of where they are. It's almost a free recon dart. And with that, they try to execute off. They try to take the player down. It's usually Mizzino is up there. But in this round, man, he goes out to mid, like 4v3. It seems like that aggression wasn't really needed. Maybe it's the confidence starting to spiral a little bit. And I feel like this is where you take a moment on Crew and say, all right, let's calm down. Let's reset it. We've already got a great half. Let's push it even further.
Yeah, it looks like it's another Gambit attack as well. So this is them again just being like, okay, we've got a round, but now we actually need to build something off of it. Otherwise, this is going to be an atrocious half. Like, the fact is, these rounds have actually just been blips on Crew's radar, which this map should be the opposite. I know there's a hell of a lot of Crew fans out there, but right now, we are expecting this map to go the way of Gambit just because we have seen so little from Crew when it comes to Breeze. The fact is, this is already a shocker for us and probably for Gambit as well. So again, taking a moment, coming up with a strategy. Maybe it's going to be another high-paced round, but by the looks of where they currently are on the map, I'm expecting more of a default.
And, you know, we're seeing Crew change things up as well. That side for utility, sure, we're still going to see the feature of round tube, but they've also put one down on the A side default plan. So when they cross over the pyramids, they'll be revealed and give a player an opportunity to take them down through cages or smokes. The camera obviously up in a little bit of a lower position than what we've seen before. With 6-3, Gambit just need to come out and win the rest of these rounds, considering this is their strong half, and we don't know what to expect from Crew on the attack. Considering what I've seen so far, I'm pretty afraid, and it looks like a repeat of round 2. Nags it, round 3 rather, is going to be running down through holes.
Ya herif pub oynarmış gibi her yerden yürüyor abi. Her el bir yerden yürüyor herif ya.
Coming back, does he expect this? No, it doesn't matter, because Nags is just that little bit too quick.
It's exactly the same. He then runs back through A, completely fine. They've spotted the push up mid. Now Defo for the first time has actually got himself an operator.
Adam yürüyüp vuruyor abi.
Earlier down to 30.
Good flash, but
Ağzıma attı
I
flash'ı.
think he's just used it to cross into the site to bolster up that B defense after they pretty much know at the
Nasıl
moment
olayım
at
bu
least
abi? İyi gün
that
be
A is
abi.
completely fine because they've cleared out
Teşekkür ederim
everything
be abi
else.
sorduğunuz için be
God,
abi.
look at those ultis, man. Crew got the ability to fight back into these sites if they need.
Yine Casper
Using,
pedi
like,
tutturamamış
likes of
amına
a
koyayım.
Viper utility or anything like that can be countered out by
Bastım
Mizzino. In fact, he
üstüne.
pops that ultimate right now. He's on 30 HP, so he can
Amına
fight with his
koyacağım ya.
teammates. And if he goes down,
Koca
they can
pet amına
back up,
koyayım.
but
Şöyle
now he's
pet.
isolated on the
Gidiyorsun
site. They
pedin
look to
5
fight into
metre
the
sağına
spawn.
yapıyorsun
Nax is
ya.
here. Blade Storm in hand, and he'll catch the third kill. Crew are looking incredible on the
Abi
defense, and they're
inanılmaz ya.
showing
Ne oldu
no signs of slowing
kanka?
down.
Kanka Nugget her round bir yerden rushlayarak 3 kill alıyor abi herif. Durduramıyorlar adamı. Adam 14 vurmuş. Tube'dan rushladı, tube'dan vurdu adama bak.
I feel like now I'm actually starting to almost get a little bit frustrated because Gambit have always been one of those teams where their default on attack has been incredibly strong.
Özür dilerim
Now we've
Casper.
definitely seen teams already try and push that. For example,
Hadi
in
oğlum,
the match
7-3.
versus X10,
Hadi
very
oğlum.
aggressively pushing forward. But the fact is, it's not been in this manner, and it's not been so consistently, and it's not been catching them anywhere near as much.
Baksana böyle durdurmaya çalışıyorlar
I was
abi.
just scrolling through some of the stats from Nags, and this is the best start to a game we've
Biz
seen
de
for a
bari
whole
rush yaptık.
period.
Güzel Redgar. Helal oğlum.
Hunter's Fury catches Delsic with the second.
Güzel oğlum helal.
Viper's pit down and out, exactly right. Mizzino up close is probably the only hope here. He had a chance, he had an angle, but Chronicle will take him down. Avoiding the Lear wasn't quite enough this time around, and the shot's really not connecting. It's an all-round from Crew and Gambit.
Ama alırlar böyle ya. Bu elde vermezler.
Plant on the site. It's a 4v2, but a lot of these players are low, Tom.
He's just top. You can't. Doesn't even stop for a second.
Nice
Maybe
oğlum
expecting
abi.
them to all be on the site already, but Kesnet wanted to try and win that one out. He would have to ace.
Bu çocuk
That's what we're
korkutuyor
looking
beni.
at here, Mitch.
At 5 and 17 HP.
Canlara bak kanka. Ferit.
Canlar az da.
Definitely
Yok
win
ya
this.
alamaz.
The timing is right. There's no
Pardon,
way that
mouse
Frank is gonna
çektim.
go back through elbow. Nags is free to at least take a fight onto site. The problem is the player waiting for him there is Nats. 125 health. Headshot needed. If Nags wants to win this out and he's got it.
Kanka.
Kanka.
Very possible.
Oğlum 30 etmiyor lan canlarının toplamı. Sıçtı. Zamanı kalmadı.
Okları var aslında Redgar'ın. Duydu.
Oh, nice.
Nice oğlum, nice.
Ben elimi yıkayıp geliyorum.
They can push up to 5. It's not yet done and dusted, but remember, this is their better half. This is the one that we've seen them almost.
Tamam 7-5 kurtarır bu arada. Sıfır şaka sürücü.
The best possible scenario is they lose it by 2.
Yeah, I really like the way that they actually played this round though. Like, again, using their ultimates, but it's those fast-paced pushes that come through mid that I think has been the one struggle so far from Crew. That and tube control. Like, the actual site takes not really been working out too well. Again, I think A-site attacks have been pretty weak, but just using that mid presence has been one of the main successes. And well, the fact that they managed to get a 4th round again with some weaker weaponry is huge for Gambit, but they haven't strung any rounds together thus far.
I love our observers, man. That was such a beautiful angle. Watching the arc of the utility come over, it's obviously going to put up the poison orb to allow the push through middle. Kesnet knows it. Information conveyed. You're going to see Klaus move around towards the spawn. So he's trying to get another angle, defending the flank through A. And maybe even popping his drone, his recon. In fact, his drone, yes, on its way now, clearing this out, seeing nobody's around. But they're waiting for a cycle of utility. They're waiting for Nats to have all of his toxins back online. Then they'll activate it, give themselves the most time possible to make this play through mid. And an advanced trapwire. They've spotted it. They've destroyed it. The flash is good. Kesnet's under a lot of pressure on the fall back. And
Abi adam gene 2 kill çıkardı.
Abi inanılmaz ya.
Nice Chronicle.
Helal Chronicle.
Has instantly found a response. Klaus still fighting though, and he's got the Hunter's Fury.
Nice.
It's the last round. He might as well try and pop it, but gets absolutely nothing from it. Chronicle, he now needs to come up with an ace.
2v1 alamaz ki.
Coming from the spawn, and he hasn't managed to connect. It is an 8-4 on a map.
Oldu sandım biliyor
We
musun?
have not seen Crew play in months.
This team came out of left field coming into this tournament. They did not look good at any previous international event. Sure, they were hitting the quarters, but the groups they had were almost by far the easiest. It looked like a walk in the park, and the minute they hit serious international competition, they got slapped. Coming into this event, I thought we were going to see the same thing after that Liquid game to open it up. But since then, it's almost like we've replaced this entire team. They are a new unit. And now challenging 8-4 the champions of the previous Masters.
Aldım mı bence. Bilmiyorum. Buradan comeback çok zor.
I would have liked to see who called that coming into the day because honestly,
bakalım atakta ne
I
yapacaklar.
don't think he's been bad, but he's not been as good as he could have been. I want to see what the desk have to say. 18-5, guys. 18-5.
Well, we haven't seen Nags on top of the leaderboard this tournament, but Achilles, you kind of did call it.
I said that
Gerçekten ya. O Kesnet, o tünel var ya. B miydi ora? Aynen. B tünel. Herif oradan sürekli kill aldı. En az 2 kill çıktı hep yani. Gambit sürekli gidip öldü ona ya.
The pace of a round, this is going to be wild to watch.
It's also when you look at the fact that Nags
geldim.
he's the sole duelist on his team, maps like Fracture for example, his performance is
Hoş
even
geldin.
worse than his average just because there's a lot more pressure on him to perform.
Ha öyle mi? Ne yaptın? İyi durumda mısın?
Yok şey yaptım ya. Spot aldım.
As well as it is,
Ha.
just compare that to Defo. Like Defo we were saying was the jet animal.
Kürü yeni tabi.
Yeniyor valla.
Kürülerin kürüsü ya.
The fact that everybody's locking in online and sure Mazzino is
Togay Staken 12. ayın kutlu olsun. Çok teşekkürler.
He's holding on to that double door space. Gambit cannot find an entry
Keznit
anywhere.
bayağı iyi oynuyor ya. Bu Keznit'i bu arada North Amerika'dan bir takım bence satın alacak yani. Kürü'den. Gerçi Kürü verir mi? Sanmıyorum. Öyle bir şey, paraya ihtiyacı var mı Kürü'nün veya Agüero'nun? Pek zannetmiyorum. Ama oyuncu isterse verebilir. Ama kesin teklif gidecek yani. Bunların IGL'leri kimmiş bilen var mı? Kürü'nün.
At least Nagzet was safe. He doesn't die a lot first.
I do not
The
know.
operator, he'll dash out, he'll play safe. If he's getting kills and then still not being killed, not trading out, that is a terrifying prospect. He's finding all of the right success, and Gambit are now looking on the rocks a little.
Well, it's 8-4 for Crew, but would this be
Götten
enough?
sallamayalım.
Let's find out what they can do in the second
Götten
half.
sallamayalım.
Mitch and Tom.
Bilen yazsın
Coming into
arkadaşlar.
this,
Herkes
I
bir
did not
isim yazıyor
expect to
amına
see
koyayım.
Gambit on a back foot, especially not by this much on a map the Crew barely ever play and haven't played.
Bak şimdi
in a
ok
damn
Curie'ye
long
geçti.
time.
Demek ki neymiş?
That is insane.
Just for anybody wondering at home.
And they've been banning it. This is the thing. They've been actively
Defo da
banning it,
aynısını
and now
yapmaya
they come
çalışıyor.
in and you can see they
Oh, it's
saved it up.
fast.
Here
It
we
is
go. A
fast.
fast push coming out of Crew. Gambit have managed to get Chronicle behind enemy lines. There's no one even paying
Çok iyi
attention
Chronicle
to
lan.
him. He gets a kill and is still left alone.
Nice
3 for
first
him in this
round.
round.
Nice.
And a pistol round that Gambit
Çizik
very
almadan.
much needed will go in their favor. Unless Kesnet's got something incredible.
Aa ne oluyor?
Allah seni.
Ay!
Ne oluyor?
Kesnet diyorum ya.
Var
Var mı?
Yok abi
Ağzını
18 can.
That was
Tek hit amına
Çizik
koyayım.
kalmadan dedim amına koyayım.
İmkanı yok kanka almasının. Bak imkanı yok.
İmkanı yok gerçekten.
Biri
Sami
3
biz
kill
de
almadan
girdik
ölmüyor.
ha.
Ne?
Sami ile girdik.
Ne iddiası?
Curry 2-0 yenerse 20 sub ben alıyorum. Gambit 2-0 yenerse 20 sub Sami.
Ferit.
Ananı sikeyim var mı? Ah! Keznit.
Duyduk ya kameradan
Chronicle.
geri çıktığını.
Evet Chronicle akıllı oynarsa alır
Ah,
abi.
nice.
Nice.
Ah.
Güzel.
Lan çok korktum ya.
Abi oha ama yani.
Oğlum ağzımı açtım çizgisiz oğlum ne güzeldir bunu tak tak tak tak yapmaya başladım.
Hepsi cehenneme gidecek, vücutlara bak amına koyayım, kalksınlar iki spor yapsınlar.
See, I know for a fact that production like to put our faces
anlatıyorsun
at the
aga.
like post.
Nasıl yani,
prime
spor yapmamak
moment
günah mı abi?
highlights. Don't put my face on
Bir
that
kez
one.
Olmak
önce
günah
enkli
mı?
olsun.
I
Çok
know
teşekkürler.
that it's cold, but that was
Ege Fitness abinin sözü ya.
they were
Ha,
already
iki
put
kişi.
together.
I've tried to beg Joey or whoever we have on the day to take not put a
I bet
replay
it's
on
Zach.
him. It
I
just
bet it's
guarantees
Zach.
it.
Nice Defo. Defo hadi abicim hadi. Hadi babacım. Hadi sen entry oynuyorsun, jet oynuyorsun, bir şeyler hadi. Yeter artık ya, bir göster kendini amına koyayım.
Nice.
Spectres will have an even easier time.
Yeah, these are the sort of rounds that Gambit really do want to be keeping squeaky clean. Now, one of the things I really want to highlight going into this map, especially on the defensive side, is actually
Hadi beyler çiziksiz.
because he previously tried to play a Killjoy. It went incredibly well. He then switched over to Sky, and it kind of went even better. Like, the man somehow manages to defend that site with purely just like information, like tech alongside him. So I'm really excited to see how that's going to work, because one of the things is we know the crew are
Güzel,
incredibly fast,
Nagzet.
incredibly
Şimdi Nagzet de
aggressive with
sıra
their
amına
takes.
koyayım.
So if he can delay and get info at the same time,
Yok ya,
it's going to be
yapacak
really
şey.
important for their defensive side.
Yeah,
Hadi
this is the
oğlum.
money-making round
Let's
for
go.
Gambit.
Batu, hoş
Nash
geldin.
just wants to remove a couple
Nice.
more weapons, but he'll only
Nice.
find the
There we
one.
go.
At the end of the day, removing a Marshall
Hadi
from
Kürü.
is going to be a bonus round in the next. On a map like Breeze, he can be pretty happy with himself. But all in all, that is Gambit. Finding at least a good foothold coming in to this half.
İyi Batucuğum, senden ne haber?
Yeah, I think another thing
Gürbay
to mention
Aysu,
as well that
17. renk
Defo
olsun
is
Aysu'cum.
definitely one of those players who can go from having a deadly quiet half to being right back in the game and you don't even realize it's happened. Like, we saw it in their game versus Vikings on Icebox, 2 kills in the first half. I think he ended the game with 20. So crew still have to be very careful, because Gambit don't really have the sort of players that will get in their own head and just dip out of the game completely, especially once the half switches.
No dash for Defo on this mid peak. But it's going to come back now. In just a moment. And Crew not looking to get aggressive, not looking to punish any sort of aggro out of Gambit, assuming that with these weaker weapons, they'll try to take a little bit of space, a little bit of control, and they'll play the late round. I like this from Crew. You can see they've just got a blanket approach, covering every single angle. You know what? They're paying a lot of attention to Tube, just in case someone comes running down.
Yeah, they don't want to make the same mistake. The position, though, from Nats, again, is just going to give so much information over. It does look like they're almost just attempting to play this as a B retake, which is going to be a lot easier said than done with the weaponry they
Oğlum
currently
B'yi
have.
tutan yok lan.
I wouldn't mind this in a
Retake'e
normal round.
bıraktılar.
In this sort of round, I feel like it's purely
Gir şu B'ye, gir şu B'ye ya.
Chronicle'ın beklediği yerine.
incredibly big risk. Well, there you go. Chronicle knows, but what could he do about it? But he's got
Nice oğlum Chronicle.
All right.
Vatken'i doğa baharatmayı al bunu yapar işte.
Good info on the knife from Mazino, utility to the backside. Anybody that was there was in a lot of trouble.
Tamam 5v4.
They still managed to find the one as they cross over. It's the opening that Gambit wanted with the Vandal.
Tamam.
Çok
güzel,
iyi
üç
oldu.
ve beş.
Oğlum yapmayın ya.
Çok iyi. Burası kim? Let's go beyler.
Keznit gitti ya. Bak kill almaması lazım Keznit'in.
Keznit hadi lan. Bu bir.
Abi gene aldı 2 tane. Gene aldı 2 tane. Neyse Allah'tan.
Nice.
Vurdu ya.
Güzel.
Bonus
da alındı. Tamam, çevrildi maç ya. Mazino IGL Ferit bu haberde yazıyor. Mazino muymuş IGL? Tamam. E oynuyor. Okay. Aslan 10K'yı verdim abi.
Oynaması.
Sence botu?
And I don't know how necessary that duel was from Klaus. Maybe he thought that they'd be deeper into the site, but that extra kill gives another gun and
İmkansız
also
abi.
turns into a 5 versus 3, which when you know they have weaker weaponry, not really worth it anymore. It's game on, Mitch.
Sıçtık pauzu da geldi.
Kürü almış.
They have had an incredible start to this map, especially as we've been saying, for one that they're
In-game
not well
leader,
versed on,
IGL.
at least in officials. Obviously, all of these teams scrim, they work hard behind the
Oyun
scenes.
içinde şunu yapak, bunu yapak beyler diyen adam.
Carl Johnson 8. ayın kutlu olsun. Çok teşekkürler. Aslan Liquid kazanır dedi. Ez dedi. Kahroldu amına.
Right here and now. They're running out of time.
Well, yeah, maybe in a round, because I think this next one's going to be
sure.
right here, right now. But when they have a bye,
Lose this round, it's done.
But yeah, that's as said. Like,
Abi Ras İstanbul'da Avrupa'da diyerek BBL'ye gelecekmiş, doğru bu. Nice try bro.
You give this team even a moment's notice and they're going to take everything away from you. So, and I think especially for Crew,
Bir
a
kısmı
lot of the time when
Avrupa'da,
they've
doğru
come
diyor.
back into series,
Doğru,
it's
doğru.
maybe been a blowout map or a map that didn't go
Nazlı
particularly
Kili,
well.
13. ayın kutlu olsun Nazlıcığım, hoş geldin.
That's going to be hard to come back from.
Yeah, it starts to crumble your mantle for sure, and you have to think about what we've been saying. Crew feel undefeatable. They feel untouchable.
Osman Bey 14.
If they
ayın
now
kutlu olsun.
throw that big of a lead and Gambit managed to snatch it back, well, their mental's going to be
Kürü
in a
çalmadın mı
pretty
ya?
poor spot. That said, they'll have their map up next, but look at this. Nags rushing it in towards the site, trying to catch the Viper. The reveal is there, but Nats somehow comes out on top. He'll be dropped
Nets bir tane
eventually.
daha
The rifle
düşürsene oğlum
retrieved,
be.
and the site for Crew. This
Güzel,
is an
güzel
ego coming
trade.
out of Crew. A low buy, let's call it. They don't have the best of weapons, but they've got scrappy bits here and there. And now in a 4v4, the potential is there. Well, Klaus goes down. That's sad.
Ultisi var. Şey olsun, Jack Chronicle'ın. Şey olsun ama. Farklı oyuncu.
Ananı sikeyim.
Kanka kaçırdım ya.
Mazino.
Doğru, koparıyorsun beni Redgar. In-game leader. Kafa atlamayın.
8-8 mi?
Yes.
İşte şimdi maç sıfırdan başlıyor. Gun round bir de.
Aynen öyle.
Pretty damn close either way, as is the game.
EMEA'dan birisi Ene'ye transfer olabilir mi? Olabilir abi, neden olamasın? Tabii ki olabilir.
And that's the thing as well, especially when you have two players, explosive players, it's like getting you a lot of rounds and a half. It's very difficult to keep that going throughout an entire map.
For
like,
sure.
Especially when you switch sides, it's a completely different ball game. Especially with Gambit, like we know that on every other map, their defensive side is better. It was just maybe.
Botu bence bu sezon bayağı göreceğiz ya. Bu zamana kadar tercih edilmiyordu ama. Latam neresi? Latin Amerika. Ne Amerika?
Nice. Çok güzel baitledi ya.
Defo adam mı vurdu? Hayret, enter
Çok
almış.
güzel baitledi kanka. Arkadaşı. Şey dostu galiba.
Tamam, maçım.
Nugget, hadi oğlum.
Oy! Oy! Yalnız bacağı yedi ha.
Out of the equation, It's a
Legedi.
5 versus 3, and that also opens up the room for Redguard to take those peeks. He's in
Redguard?
such a good spot to pounce
Rahat
as
kanka
they
orası.
find Delzik, and that
Alacak
flash is
info
revealed.
şimdi.
Redguard's going to start working on
Güzel.
it. The round's
Güzel.
almost over already. With
Yak.
Xeno left,
Süper.
Zord.
will not happen. And
GG bu
Gambit
maç.
have come
Döndü
back and
Gambit.
retaken the lead from 8-4
Evet,
down.
maç sıfırdan
They're
hakikaten
now
başladı
sitting on
kanka.
9.
That was a prime gaming flawless in a full buy round.
My baby.
This is starting to become a little
Defo
bit
ama yeni
almost
oynamaya
disrespectful
başladı ha.
from Gambit.
Batu.
It's like they gave them that little bit of hope that they
Şuna
could
bir
win this
mesaj at,
game,
bir
and
gaza
now they're
gelsin.
snatching it
Motivasyon
right
alsın.
back with these nice little aggressive bait plays. Defo
Maçın
was,
başında
as I
yoktu.
said, deadly
Gambit
quiet in the first
klasik
half.
ya harbiden.
Would you know?
Defans takımı.
Like, would you know the way he's playing? It's just like, yep, bad half, right? I'm gonna go peek mid, lads. Don't worry about it. I'm not gonna
Şu
miss this shot.
kollarındaki
That's
şeyler
how he
çok
plays.
cool durmuyor mu lan Ferit?
Genuinely, I don't know how he has
Net
this level
şey
of
değil mi?
mentality,
Sleeve.
especially on an agent
Evet,
like
bayağı
Jet,
cool ya.
where it is purely confidence based.
Mis gibi bilmiyorum ama bayağı cool duruyor.
Şey kanka, mousepad'de koldan oynayanlar için daha iyi kaysın diye.
Oha. Çok mantıklı lan o.
Aynen.
Ciddi bu arada hiç aklıma gelmemiş.
Missing that drone tag means that they
Keznit.
cannot push in towards that
Defo.
Viper ultimate. They
Eyvah.
changed direction, they look for mid, and they found Defo there.
Is that going to be an operator into their hands? He was definitely using the
B'ye
blade.
koşuyor.
Whether or not he had the
Buraya.
gun as well, because if he did,
B
that's
geldi.
a huge weapon. for
Chronicle
them
bir
to
kill.
break through.
Bir kill
now
Chronicle.
trying to
Çok
defend
güzel
this
oğlum.
with no
Tamam vurma
utility.
2'yi.
Kill goes
Tamam hiç
his way,
sıkıntı yok. Hiç
but
sıkıntı
it's
yok.
a trade out from
4 ve 3.
Giving them an advantage, not in
Net
weaponry,
onu vur.
but at least in
Harika.
personnel. However, Nets,
Çok güzel
well,
oğlum
the
be.
flanker
3 ve 3.
killing the flanker.
Redguard bir siker oğlum hadi oğlum.
Battling him at
Gördü.
times, but he wasn't there to
Redguard.
catch him this time
Redguard
around.
Çok güzel oğlum.
Nice.
Redguard.
Absolutely. This is going to be tough. You know, for Mazzino, if he sits in this position,
Nets,
maybe he
okudun.
catches Nats coming
Nets,
on through
okudun.
if it isn't cleared.
Bakmaz ki oraya.
Hiçbir şey okuyamaz.
Bakmaz.
Hiçbir şey okuyamaz. Net hiçbir şey bilmez. Nice oğlum.
Ve 2.
Tam hala silahları yok kanka bizde.
Kanka tehlikeliler gene ya.
Yo, yo, biz hiçbir şey yapamaz.
Nice oğlum Redguard.
Bu bir.
Ya ama vur kanka,
Hiçbir şey yapamaz.
Nice oğlum.
Aa! Agüero alo.
As they hit 10 and
Agüero!
so that
Bir daha izleyeceğim
operator
videoyu.
could be retrieved.
The moon.
And it looks like they found it. Okay. A great round all in all.
Ah video atıldı mı?
One where it
Nice.
definitely looked like there were some risks taken by Gambit, like the aggressive push in a round where realistically you know that your opponent doesn't have a whole lot. You hear the blade storm get popped. It wasn't necessary, but they recover incredibly well. And 6-0 on the defensive side. It is possible that maybe the defensive side is better. We just never get to see it.
Edancım
because they
teşekkür
always
ederiz
start
Batu'ya
on
sablık hediyen için.
Oh man. 10 on the
Batucuğum,
board.
hiç
This kind
sıkıntı
of feel
yok.
good for Crew. No timeout called into this one. They're going to just run in straight for the
Yani
Nose, and
Redguard
Nags
ama yani
continues with the confidence taking down
Bilerek
Redguard.
yapıyor ya.
Tube control completely out of Gambit's hand, and the response
Nice
is to
oğlum
go
Defo.
aggressive
Nice
again
oğlum
Defo.
Defo.
into
Bravo.
cave and find the opening. Return 4v4, but obviously on a map as big as this, Crew are going to be happy enough with
Çok
that.
güzel Chronicle.
Çok iyi
Dağıldı ya.
Çok
Kürü
iyi
dağıldı.
oğlum ya.
On fragging, the Seekers
Harikasın.
Defo sola bak.
primed and
Defo.
ready to hunt down the remaining players, but
Al oğlum Defo orada.
Defo,
Aynen
jet
öyle.
diff. Bak jet diff.
Sakın sen çıkma ama.
Eğer
Bırak o çıksın.
kaybedersen jet diff.
Something you definitely want to see. And while Seekers, no surprise, is
Timing'e bak.
online again because there's been so many kills coming through for Chronicle that he's just farming up this ult. They now know
Ay,
how
kere
far back these
timing.
players are. And
Ay,
oh, it looked like
ah,
a
atamadı
freebie for
Filik.
Defo, but he won't connect the shot this time.
Yeah, I like the response from Gambit though.
Tamam, geri
Immediately
çekildiler.
falling
Aynen
back.
öyle,
They
iki
don't
kişiler
wanna
ya.
duel and fight for middle. Why
Ne gerek
would
var?
you?
Pike.
With 45 seconds on the clock and your opponents in spawn,
pikle.
they're waiting
Chronicle
for
yapma.
you to make a mistake,
Tamam, aynen orada
and
bekle
eventually,
Chronicle.
if
Yürü
they
bak.
let that clock run down,
Ha,
they're
side'ları
just going to
çekildiler
call
ha.
for the save. So no point in
Güzel.
giving them opportunities. Instead, you'll defend the sites, the important points.
Neden Gambit istiyor? Bahis mi
Gambit are
oynadı?
doing a
Hayır
great job
abi.
of
EMEA
that.
takımı.
Looking to put themselves on 11, and
Lan
I
şunu bir
don't think Crew are
öğrenemediniz
gonna go
ya.
for this now that the
Eğer
time
EMEA
is this
takımı
low.
oynuyorsa
They
EMEA
either
takımı
run into
tutuyorum
the
abi.
site that they know Gambit are in ratty corners ready to defend and still have delay utility, or they carry an op and a vandal through and try to make that comeback as Gambit hit 11.
The other thing as well for Gambit is, do you
10
really want to
seconds
push
left.
a player who's one off your Hunter's Fury? It's just
Not
there's
really,
no reason for them to go aggressive at this point.
Ya.
Other than now, the
Sıkıntı yok,
round is
sıkıntı yok.
already
Süre
over.
bitti.
They want to try
Dans.
and remove some of this weapon.
Kanka şunu gördün mü?
I'm very surprised that these words are about to come out of my
Attım
mouth,
chat'e.
but I'm genuinely starting to think the best player on Gambit is actually Chronicle. At least in this tournament, like we've always highlighted like Land Defo being unbelievable. Nats MVP of the last tournament in Berlin. Chronicle this tournament has been
Ne
unbelievable,
yapayım?
especially on this map playing two
yapayım?
different agents and making it look good every single time.
Koparıyor ya.
That's gross.
Listen, everybody knows I'm a Gambit stan, right? Especially Chronicle, right? Get that-
Koparıyor ya kankam.
Predicted them to win the
Of
tournament,
course we
so,
did.
you know.
Of course we did. But what I will say, honestly, the redemption arc of Nags on this map has been so fun to watch. I'm really enjoying seeing him come through. We had the interview with him a couple days back, right? And you saw the emotion. You saw how much it meant to them to make it to where they did to represent Latin America. That was before. I mean, Nags was tearing up in that interview, and that was before.
Topamani
they were the
7.
last
ayın kutlu olsun.
standing
Çok
member
teşekkürler.
of anywhere that wasn't EMEA. I mean, these guys are fighting for it all, but now the pressure is on. 11
Ya
to
saçma
8
sapan
down.
konuşmayın
2
cidden
rifles
ya.
saved over. And a lot of conversation coming out of Owner here. I'm not surprised. This is going to be one of their last chances to win map
One
one.
of the most surprising things, I believe it was Mazzino,
Eline
someone
sağlık
can correct
Sedef'cim.
me if I'm wrong. After they beat Fnatic,
Yeah.
he tweeted, "Sorry guys, I didn't play that
I remember,
well."
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, excuse me? Like, excuse me, sir. You've just eliminated Fnatic, who I think after making it to the playoffs, a lot of people
Beckham
were even
araştırarak,
putting them in one of the favorites
araştırman
because of
lazım.
how well players like Dirk have been playing. Bolster on LAN was looking great. And he's like, sorry lads, didn't play well today. Don't worry, I'll come back stronger. And you're like,
Botoks kaçtan sonra yapılır?
you won! Like, come on!
That's it. Win together,
Batu
lose
valla
together, right? And I think
bilmiyorum ki ya.
what you've heard of Crew in that
Onu
interview they had
şeye
earlier
sormak
on
lazım.
with Kesnet, we played it
Bu
just before the game
YouTube
started.
influencerlarına, kaydırgel
we didn't see it.
influencerlarına sormak
He was
lazım.
talking about how they want to come in
Botoks
here. It's an
şişirmek
honor
için
to
de
play against the
kullanmıyorlar mı ya?
best of the best, and they'll leave nothing on the
Mankenler falan.
field.
Nice.
Kanka, botoksu
is doing
herkes kullanıyor
exactly
ya.
that. This guy is on
Şimdi
fire.
vardı Shadows.
Leading the
Hemen
charge
ceza
with the
50'li
opening
yaştan
goal.
sonra.
Shados goes down, and that operator already paying for itself.
They're going to drone in as well. So much information
Önemli
dashed
round.
on, so they'll have to fall back after this
Evet,
one.
4 kişiyiz kanka.
I think they've even managed to spot out Nats as well. This is starting to get pretty
That was
dangerous.
close.
There's a lot of
Yalandan
information
vuruyordu bak, amına
currently
koyayım.
there. Is Nats actually going to do this? He looks like he's about to try and make a play around
Nice
the
oğlum.
edge, and they use
Nice.
Master's Fury to push the
Çok iyi lan
İşte bu kadar lan. İşte bu kadar lan.
Tehlikeli, tehlikeli.
Ay Defo.
What a shot out of Defo. Kesnet's caught.
Nice lan Defo.
Oğlum
Defo'ya
helal
bak,
olsun
o niye
ya.
sıktı ya? O niye
Bu
sıktı
Batu
ya?
yazmış,
Helal
Batu
olsun
yazmış.
sana.
Batu mesajını atmış Depo'ya.
O niye
Nice
sıktı
oldu.
ya?
haven't given Crew a single round so far in this half. Looking to close it out with a flawless defense.
Batu ne yaptın? Nude mu attın lan?
Oğlum yalnız side değiştikten sonra round alamadılar kanka.
Evet. İyi başladı ya defansa.
I'll eat my words. It said words, and I need that one right now because I will hold my hands up and say, like, you know what?
Bir de
after that
TMP
first
derler ha
half, I was
Breeze'e.
looking at this, I was like, Crew, this is yours to take. Gambit have obliterated them in this. Like, this is 8-0. This is a
O da ansızın yollar falan hiç gerek yok öyle şeylere.
It's incredible. It really and truly is. Crew put up such a good first half, man. I was believing. I was 100% behind the 1-0 to Crew.
Oha zehirden geçtiler. Aa çıldırmış, kürü çıldırmış.
Kafa yediler, kafa yediler.
Yok, mental ikinci map'te gider.
Okay.
Ya kanka sikeceğim bunların karbonlarını artık yeter ya.
Ama onu vur, Kesnet.
Kaçıncı karbon abi üst üste?
To put them in a spot. No ultimates
Senin
as well on
ultimiz
the
yok.
other side to try and clear this out. And
Nasıl
now
onun
again,
omu?
Chronicle is gone.
E var mı?
There
Yok.
was the ping coming out from Klaus just to
Onun
give that
E'sini
extra little
bekleseler
bit
ya.
of information.
Defo.
Defo trying to close the gap and might be able to try and isolate one of these players. It's going to be
Helal
Klaus on
oğlum
the
Defo.
other side.
Close.
The shot is connected. The sneaky push
Ah.
through catches him though.
Defo
A big
lan.
round from
Ah,
Delzing.
nice.
It's left into the 1 versus 1. It's a perfect place. Piece of
Aldı,
utility out from
aldı.
Reza. Can he get the
Let's
final
go.
kill? Yes, he can.
Dost
It
lan.
is going to be that clutch out.
Biter.
It is going to be the first map going away.
Bravo, ne oldu lan?
Rounds in a row for the Masters champions.
Nice go, nice go.
İnanılmaz bir şey ya. Şu roundu
You
vermek.
see exactly why we came into this favoring Gambit. Their
İşte bu Gambit bu ya.
resilience, their mental fortitude.
Fena maç,
to
fena
sit
maç.
there
8-4'ten
8-4
comeback.
down,
8-4'ten
have that halftime
13-8.
pause and come back in swinging. But Nax is